morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at some new Urshifu. But you see, what is different about these particular Urshifu, what has not actually happened before, these are proper Stage 1 evolving single prize Urshifu. And we do actually have both a single strike and a rapid strike that we can take a little bit of a look at. One of which I like a lot, and one of which I like okay. So we'll start off with the single strike. Our translations, of course, today come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, as I'm sure by now you know. And what we got is 140 HP, which to be fair for a stage 1 is very high. We like it. A retreat cost of 2, which gives us access to Air Balloon, which is rather nice. A weakness to grass, which is fine. Like, there just aren't that many good grass decks around at the moment. Rillaboom is always sitting there threatening to make grass decks good, but unless something changes or something else gets released, etc., we're not expecting grass to be good in the near future. Having said that, you're not hitting much for weakness as a darkness Pokemon. You are getting Dragapult, and maybe all the new fighting Pokemon coming along will get rid of Eternatus and Dragapult will make a comeback. You'll get Oricorio pre-rotation, so you know what? It's not terrible, but it's alright. You do also then have access to Black Market Prism Star, which will mean you don't give up a prize if you're KO'd with Darkness Energy attached to you. And of course, you are a single strike Pokemon. We'll get there in a moment. The first attack here, 1 Darkness, 1 Colorless Energy, 50 damage. If your opponent has any stadium in play, you discard it. Now, this is your opponent, not you, and to be fair, Antoine is awesome when it comes to the translation stuff, so we're taking this at face value from now on unless we hear otherwise. So what we've essentially got is a way to get rid of your opponent's stadium without getting rid of yours. We've seen attacks like this in the past that will just discard a stadium in play. Here, you are only discarding your opponent's. And that is really, really nice. It means if you've got, say, your 1 Black Market Prism Star in play, you get to essentially keep it. And sometimes you're going to want to get rid of your opponent's stadiums. You're going to want to get rid of their one-of Wondrous Labyrinth Prism Star, which is trying to make you pay more to attack. You're going to get rid of their Giant Half, because you want to get rid of their ability to search out the fire energy, for instance. Or you're going to get rid of their Chaotic Swell, so that you can play your own stadium without it getting immediately discarded, etc. It's not an attack around which to build a deck. It is fine. And there will be times, if you're playing this, there's going to be those turns where you can get a KO while getting rid of a stadium. That's going to be awesome. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it is very much an extra attack. The main reason to play it is the wonderfully named Carnage Knuckle. Now, Antoine has translated these attack names. They are not official attack names, but come on, this sounds fun, right? Also, Antoine puts a lot of work into really fun names with them, so good work. 100 damage for Darkness, Colorless. But if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, you do 100 more damage. And you should basically read this as just Darkness, Colorless, 200 damage. Now, I did say you've got large HP at 140. Generally speaking, for a stage 1, we want 130. There's a whole bunch of Pokemon like Excadrill, my boy, that naturally do 120. So there's a big difference between 120 and 130. Here you're up to 140, except you're not really. You're actually down to 120, because this is all about Houndoom. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing this, you're playing Houndoom. This is the single strike Houndoom that lets you, once during your turn, search your deck for a single strike energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon, and put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. But you see, the thing here is, firstly, single strike energy, like strong energy before it, lets you do an extra 20 damage. It's for single strike Pokemon, not fighting Pokemon, but other than that, it's basically the same. And you put damage on, so it's going to activate your attack. So actually here, you're not doing 200, you're doing 220, and 220 is a number that we have talked about a lot lately, because 220 is basically the high end of Pokemon Vs. There are a couple, there's like 4 exceptions that go above that, none of which are weak to darkness, unfortunately. But generally speaking, you will get Pokemon Vs here. And this is simple and straightforward. You need to have an energy on there, and then you just attach for turn, Houndoom, 220. You're going to have damage on. Now, there are other ways to get damage on. You can use Jinx to move damage from one of your other Pokemon to this Pokemon, and then you have 1 damage on. You can use Spikemuth to retreat to the bench or switch to the bench. Either is fine, to put damage on and then go back to the active. There's plenty of ways to get damage on your... But there wasn't for a while, but now there is easy ways to damage your own Pokemon. And then you're going to be doing 220. Now, of course, if you've got multiple Houndoom out, that 220 could be 240, 260, whatever. The free energy makes me slightly nervous here, because generally what I really want to do is energy Houndoom Smash. But obviously you're doing 220, that would be a little bit too good. So essentially what we're doing here is Houndoom, energy, and another. Whether that's a second Houndoom, whether that's an energy switch from one of your other Pokemon. You know, you're not basic, you're a stage 1, so what you're probably going to do is bench your Cubfu. Speaking of which, first ever Cubfu. And then attach an energy, and then next turn you're going to attach energy switch and smash with single strike Urshifu. But of course, I keep saying 220, you're a single strike Pokemon. So 220 doesn't sell the story. You can have an Emboar, which will let you do an extra 30 damage. And remember, Emboar can be got into play super easily with Mustard. So, yeah, do bear that in mind. And then, of course, there's that Karen card, Karen's Conviction or Karen's Belief that we looked at the other day, that lets you do an extra 20 damage for each prize card your opponent's already taken. It's literally double Iris. So, I say 220 because 220 is the simple, I've used 1 Houndoom, and I refuse to believe you're playing a single strike deck and not playing Houndoom and single strike energy. But you can play more than 1 single strike energy, you can use Karen, you can use Emboar, and if you're hitting 220, right? You use Emboar and Karen when your opponent's taken 5 prizes, and that's 350, that's an Eternatus going down. You can one-hit KO anything here, but most of the time you're looking at a Pokemon that destroys Pokemon V. The third energy is awkward because you do need to make a real special effort to get it on there, but this is still a 4-Wassy card. I like this card. I think this is a very nice card. But I don't like it as much as I like the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Although, bearing in mind, I am very much Team Rapid Strike, so, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. 140 HP again is very high. Retreat cost of 2 again means Air Balloon, but it also means Tower of Water, which is a stadium that will reduce your retreat cost by 2 if you're a Rapid Strike Pokemon. So there's free retreat. We got a weakness to Lightning, which is honestly fine. Like, Bolt Under will KO you more easily, which I suppose is slightly annoying. But if I'm being perfectly honest here, Pikachu and Zekrom already gets a one-hit KO. Raichu and Alolan Raichu already gets a one-hit KO, so just don't worry about it. Being a water Pokemon does mean you can accelerate energy with Frostmoth, though you're almost certainly not going to need to. But it does also mean you're hitting weakness against those Welder decks, especially Center Scorch. And this is very nice because it means that you get to counter one of the best decks in the game right now. But what does it do? Well, the first attack, 1 energy, 40 damage. We are not getting terribly excited about it. Maybe if something is weak and an evolving basic, yeah. But that doesn't really fit the MO of much that's around at the moment. If anyone's actually playing Tepig to evolve into Emboar, you'll get Tepig. But like I've said, the vast majority of people are blatantly going to be playing Mustard to get Emboar into play. So, yeah. That's not going to work. Honestly, don't worry about it. It's a second attack that's really good here. 2 energy, 1 water, 1 colorless. This attack does 30 damage for each of your Rapid Strike Pokemon in play. So clearly, what we're trying to do here is get an entire field full of Rapid Strike Pokemon. Now, straight off the bat here, we need to mention that Rapid Strike energy becomes absolutely brokenly amazing. It's a double energy for Rapid Strike Pokemon. Now, the downside is it will only actually count for water or fighting energy. But the good news is you need water and colorless energy. So you know what? Yeah, we cool. We are absolutely cool. And then the theory very simply is that we fill up our bench full of Rapid Strike Pokemon, and then all of a sudden we're hitting 180 damage. Because you'll have 5 bench Pokemon plus this in the active. It is each of your Rapid Strike Pokemon, not each of your other Rapid Strike Pokemon. And then, so that's 6 times 3, which is 180, which is cool. And I said earlier on that what we really want to do here, like the main Pokemon we're looking to hit for weakness is Centiskorch. Well, Centiskorch comes in here with 320 HP, so you're hitting 360. If they've got 2 Heat Fire Energy attached, you'll still get a 1-hit KO. If you're not hitting for energy, then that's a little bit more awkward, but 180 damage is still pretty good. Essentially, you'll get the support Pokemon. You'll get your Dedennes, your Crobats, things of that nature. You'll get single prize Pokemon, but you're not really getting many Pokemon V. Like, whereas with the single strike, I told you, well, you know, you'll get pretty much every Pokemon V, but then you're in a little bit of trouble when it comes to potentially the V maxes, though we can get that high if we really play around with the single strike tricks. Here I'm telling you 180. You'll get things that are weak, single prize Pokemon, and the weaker support Pokemon. But that's basically your lot. You're not hitting random Pokemon Vs. So why do I like it so much? And the reason I like it so much is, and this is very much supposedly the hook of single and rapid strike Pokemon, although the hit is not as hard here, we are still talking about single energy 180 damage. And single energy 180 is blatantly a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant thing. And that's kind of the point of rapid strike Pokemon, to build it up nice and quickly. Now, when you saw this initially, right, you might have thought, well, hang on a second, Wassy, that looks a little bit familiar, and it should. This is a stage 1 better version of Phalanx. Phalanx comes along with basically the same attack, except it's 20 damage for each of your Rapid Strike Pokemon in play, so 120 if they're all completely Rapid Strike. Clearly that's 60 less damage, but again you're hitting a different weakness. Phalanx is hitting a fighting weakness, this is hitting a water weakness. And then of course you've got all of the other Rapid Strike Pokemon that you could bring in as well if you so wished. This is 180 for a single energy and it hits a water weakness. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think in a Rapid Strike deck, this is wonderful. I don't think you build a deck around this. I think 180 is a little bit too weak. Although, to be honest, building a Phalanx and this deck, that ain't too bad, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't too bad at all. Because, okay, the damage isn't huge, but you're talking single prize Pokemon, consistent, easy damage every turn. Though do remember, you can only play 4 Rapid Strike energy, so sooner or later you will need an option to attach that extra energy. You have been warned. But I like this. I think this is awesome. Like I say, not a deck on its own, but a really good support in a Rapid Strike deck. I'm also giving this one 4 Wassies. And I tell you what, the more I think about them, the more I think I actually like them almost equally. I think there is an awful lot to get excited about this. And by this, I mean both of them. And I don't think either of them are going to be decks in and of themselves. Although, to be honest, the single strike could. But I do think they're going to be really good support in the requisite decks. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.